Today, Brad's going to step into a shop and he's going to show you exactly how to color fill lower receivers on an AR-15. Brad's been doing this for years. He's done thousands of them for people around the country. So this episode is Brad showing you how to color fill lower receivers on an AR-15. And right now would be a good time for you to subscribe to Bannock Outdoor Television.
Okay, what I want to show you today is how to do some color fill in an AR-15 lower receiver. We're going to color fill the fire control area, the fire red, the safe white, and we're going to do some other colors on the other roll mark where it says Anderson Manufacturing and stuff. So here we go. We give it a try. Okay, today we're going to do some color fill on an AR-15 lower receiver. It's a Anderson Manufacturing lower receiver. We're going to color the fire mark, roll mark, in red, so that when you have it on fire, you can see that it's in the red. We're going to color fill the safe mark as white, so you know that when the weapon's in safe. We're going to try a couple of other colors, or a blue color, and see if we can make it come out good on another part of that. So we're going to start now. What we do is I use lacquer thinner. It works really good for cleaning the metal. Also, I use it for removing the excess color fill. The paint I use is hard fingernail polish. You can pick that up in the stores. Some of it's pretty dang expensive, but I usually only spend 99 cents a bottle on it. And I've never had to redo a gun in all the years that I've been doing this. So not only do I color fill the guns, I like to color fill other things. I have several magazines that on my Glocks I have color filled the numbers side that shows how many rounds are in your magazine. It works really good for marking whatever you want so that you can really see the numbers well. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this lacquer thinner and I'm going to put it where I want the color fill to be removed, or where I'm going to do the color fill. And you put that on there. It dries pretty fast. And you're going to do this a couple times so you can get all the oil out, and you want the metal nice and dry. And leave a nice dry metal surface so that the fingernail polish will adhere to it well. There you go. Now we're down to just the bare metal. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color fill the red on the fire. I'm only going to kind of do a little bit at a time and clean it up and then move on from there. We don't want to get too crazy. I'm going to do the horse on the Anderson Manufacturing and the word Anderson Manufacturing in red. Put it on quite heavy because it's going to shrink and dry, and as you apply it, you daub it into the lettering, into this roll mark, basically. You don't want it you want to make sure you get it down in there, because if it doesn't get down in there, when you wipe it off, you're going to end up with a air bubble. That's not really a big problem, because you just go back and redo it again. So that's one thing with doing this, is if you don't like it when you're done, you just wipe it all off and do it again. So right now, we're just going to let it set, and you'll be able to, you're getting a little bit of shadow there. But anyway, we're going to just let it set and dry, and then I'll come back and clean that up, and then we'll move on to another color. Okay, I've let the color fill dry for about a half hour, and now we're going to take the excess off. And what I do is I like to use a cloth that is very tight weaved. It's almost like bed sheeting material. Doesn't have any nap to it. And I put the lacquer thinner on it. Just spray a little bit on there. And then what you do is you just let the chemical do the wiping. You don't dig hard or nothing. You wipe really soft. You just nice and easy. Take your time. And it leaves behind the color inside the roll marks. Just exactly what you want. If you end up with a little mistake, it's no big deal, because you can always go back and fill it back in. If it's a big mistake, you can always clean it off and start over. It's not that big a deal. So you just want to do that, and that's all I'm going to do here. And I'm just going to wipe it off nice and easy. And as you can see, I'm wiping away from these other roll marks, because I'm going to be putting another color in there. And I don't want red in there to make it pink when I put some white down in there. And I'm not rubbing hard. Just nice and easy. Okay, now you can see the outline of the horse. Pretty good. See that? That's actually not too bad. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the white, and we'll do the same thing we did on the red. Just kind of daub it in there. This is on the safe control area, where you put the weapon on safe. And then here what we're going to do is we want to put it on the first two lines right below the horse on Anderson Manufacturing. We don't want to get it up in the red though, so we got to kind of be really careful. And we don't want to get it down below if we can help it. I'm sure we'll probably get a little in there, and we'll have to clean it out before we can put the blue on. And what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to do one to make it look like it's somewhat patriotic, red, white, and blue. So there we go. We've got the white fingernail polish in there. We've got the red that's all done. And after we get done with that, we're going to go ahead and use the blue. So that's where we're at right now. So we're going to need like 30 minutes before we start to clean the white fingernail polish up. Okay, I think that white has dried long enough. It's been there for a half hour or so. So now we're going to take the excess off. And all I do is, remember, I just put a little bit of this lacquer thinner on the edge of a corner of a cloth, and I just start rubbing really soft. Got a little too much lacquer thinner on there. There we go. Oh, I didn't get the E filled in very well. I'll have to go back and catch that. You can see there's a little pock mark on the corner right there. Okay, now we're going to do the other one. We just don't want to bump into that red. All you want to do is get where the white is. And if we find some little bit of air bubbles or anything, then we're going to just redo it. It's not that big a deal. It's real easy. But you don't try to take it off all at once. You just take off a little layer at a time, rubbing it softly. Continue to just use a little bit of lacquer thinner on there, just enough to help it bring that off. So I'm just going to continue to do that until I get all the excess white off. That's all you got to do. When we get this white off, we're going to put some blue on this where the serial numbers are and where it says multi-cal. So that's our goal. See if we can get this to look like it's kind of patriotic. I'm just going to keep doing this until we get it all. Just try not to get up into the red. If you do, you can always go back and fix that too, but it's just easier not to. There we go. That shape looks pretty good. Get some of this off here off the background. There we go. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to apply the blue. And we're going to be really careful with this. Well, I was going to try to be really careful with this. Ooh, that blue is not quite what I was hoping. That is more of a metallic blue. I was hoping for a more plain blue. I guess we'll let it dry and see what we got. I might have to go and get a different one. Yeah. The safe and fire, they're all done now. They look good. Yeah. Safe, fire, and the rest of it looks pretty good. You just need to let that blue dry. It's kind of crazy. Well, let's see what it does. It's either going to be wonderful or it's going to be terrible. So we'll just let that dry out for a little while. Give it about 30 minutes. We'll clean it up and see what we got. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get some of this blue off. That's not where it's supposed to be. You just do it the same way you do all the rest. Just kind of wet a corner of a clean rag, and you just try not to overlap them at all, because you're going to smear them together if you do. So you just want to barely get that. And then the next thing you're going to do, if you got any places you need to really just get inside and touch up a little bit, you just take a Q-tip. Just wet it down a tiny bit. Don't do much, because you can see you get some color on them. You're always going to pull some color off. And you don't put it on top of the numbers or letters, because the Q-tip is so soft, it's going to wipe that right out of the roll mark. And you don't want that. You want to leave that in there. That's the part that you're trying to keep. But as you can see here, I haven't even touched that fire, and I'm already getting some red from that around there. That's just a residual that's been left on there. I'm going to do that with 2 or 3 Q-tips, so I can just really get it nice and cleaned up. It's going to look sharp. You don't want it everywhere. And remember, don't touch the roll marks. This part, we're just cleaning up the flat spots on top. And we're just trying to make it look a lot better, your picture. And that's kind of how it is. Okay, now what you want to do is you're going to let it set and dry really good. Till everything is really hard and you really can't mess anything up. And what you're going to do now is you're going to take some gun oil, some type of gun oil, whatever it is you like to use. I like to use LPS 1, but it doesn't matter what kind of oil. Remember that you've stripped almost all the oil and you have taken all the oil and grease off this lower receiver. Now you want to put some back on there just to protect it. And also the oil is going to help protect some of the lettering. So you just put that on there, rub it around, kind of let it set a little bit. Pretty much do the whole thing. This was already on the back of this Anderson manufacturing. So we're just going to let it set for a few minutes, kind of suck in some of that oil, and we're going to dry it off. But as you can see now, you can use a regular cloth on it. You can dry, do whatever you want. Color's not going to run. It's not going to go anywhere. Now you got yourself a beautiful, patriotic lower receiver, red, white, and blue. I think that blue turned out fairly decent. I think I'm going to use that again. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Safe and fire. Everything looks really good.